Here's a fact about Tic Tac Toe. Tic Tac Toe is a game that's universally enjoyed by everyone. Available everywhere from coloring books to Cracker Barrel. Those exist beyond America, right? But what if I told you that this game is actually fundamentally poorly designed? And today, we are going to explain why. Tic Tac Toe was created in Egypt by a man named John Tack, who really hated ticks. This hatred culminated in Tack making a game out of it where he and the ticks multiplied for dominance, with the X's being called ticks and the zeros being called tacks. The toe in the title was because Tack was just into that. As we know, Egyptians were pretty smart with their pyramids and slave trade. They realized early on that the game was a piece of shit, so they made a bunch of modifications over the dynasties, and since they had no paper, they carved their games into the pyramids. Immortalizing these battles of wits is what we know as hieroglyphics. Years later, various excavators discovered these chiseled games, including John Parker and Parker Parker. After discovering these messages, they decided to adapt this game for the worldwide market, simplifying the game back to its original state under the label The Parker Brothers. Now I've explained why this game is a piece of shit, now I have to explain why this game is a piece of shit. Wait. Tic-Tac-Toe is a very simple game. There are two players. One plays as the X's and the other plays as the zeros. And they take turns marking their respective sign until three of the same signs line up. Whoever committed to that task wins the game. Very simple, but unfortunately, it's too simple because of one simple strategy. X, who goes first, has to place the first mark in the center, and the result of the game rests entirely in X's hands. For you casuals in the audience, matchups are measured on a scale from 1 to 10, divided into two integers based on how well the two characters do against each other. For example, an equal matchup would be measured as 5 to 5, but for a matchup where one character has a slight advantage over the other, it would be measured as 6 to 4. So with that explanation out of the way, I am glad to say that this matchup is measured at 9 to 1. The only reason the 1 is there is because of human error. Technically, you could still lose if you're not paying attention to the match, but if you're on your toes, you will, well, there's another problem with the game. Because 99% of the time, the board fills up with X's and O's without a match, which results in a tie, which after a while gets pretty annoying, and this is the problem. If both players are sound of mind or a computer, because I couldn't find anyone to play with, it's probably because Tic-Tac-Toe and not because of me. Piece of shit game. You will keep trying over and over and over and over and over again. No one will ever win until one of you gives up, and that's why this game is a piece of shit. But what if we could change the game for the better? Even better than the Egyptian version. Introducing Project T, the next evolution of Tic-Tac-Toe. Let's start with some simple changes. We're increasing the map to a 5x5 grid. You still have to match 3 in a row, but now you have a larger playing field. Plus, I have a new mechanic. It's called swapping. Basically, when it's your turn, instead of placing a new mark, you can move an existing mark in 4 different directions. If a mark is already where you want to move your mark, it doesn't matter if it's yours or the opponent's, you can push it in the direction you're moving the mark, unless another mark or the edge is in your way. Then you can't move at all. This lets you do some funny things, like disrupting your opponent's line, and lets you align your own streaks. Hold on, I just got a letter from a commenter from the future. I have this machine that gives me comments from the future so I can adjust content so I don't get those comments. This one reads, why would you swap when you can just place an X where you want to move and mark both spaces for yourself? And that's a great question. You see, give me a second. Okay, so first off, we're expanding the board to 7x7. We're also going to introduce a mechanic from another simple game, rock, paper, scissors. So instead of one side having X's and the other having zeros, each side will have access to both marks plus a triangle mark. Each player will now be distinguished by the color of their markings. Now, whichever marking you put down is very important, as during each turn, you can choose to destroy your opponent's mark that's right next to yours depending on both the shape of yours and the player's mark. Basically, zeros beat X's, which beat triangles, which beat circles, and you could still shove matching marks, just not different ones. Hold on, a future commenter just arrived. Let me see what they have to say. What's stopping both players from just using the same symbol the entire game and not engaging with the mechanic? And that's very simple. You see, give me a moment. Alright, so we're expanding the playfield to 9x9, and we're giving each mark a health bar, 5 hit points. That way, any mark can engage in combat. When they start to fight, the engaging mark hits first, and if the opposing mark is still alive, it will counterattack. The rock, paper, scissors system is still in effect, but instead will do more damage. For example, if an X fights a 0, the circle will take 1 damage, but will deal 2 to the X. There's also a new arrow mark that can attack from 2 tiles away instead of 1, but is not part of the rock, paper, scissors triangle, so no damage buffs. Also, there are various places you can't place marks on, marked with this circle with a line through it. Oh, my future comment thing is going off again. Let's see what this has to say. These new fancy ideas don't have anything to do with Tic Tac Toe. Fair point, future commenter and fan, hopefully. Let's see. Give me one more second. Alright, so instead of the match 3 objective of Tic Tac Toe, hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're expanding the map to 11x11. Now, on each side of the map, there's a small troop of different units. You can't make any more. Now, each turn will let you move each of them once, instead of one at a time. The game will now end when one player has wiped the other squad out. Oh, my future comment machine has gone off. Do not worry, because I know how to fix it without even reading it. Each unit will be played by an iconic fictional character, each with different stats like health, attack, and the amount of tiles you can move. And each shape will be changed to a specific weapon. Zeros are now swords, X's are now axes, triangles are spears, and arrows are bows. And arrows. For example, Laios from Dungeon Meshi is a sword user. Thor from Greece is an axe wielder. Bandana Waddle Dee is a spear user, and Legolas is a bow user. Now let's see for the rest of our cast. For our sword users, we have Puss in Boots, Cloud Strife, Zoro, and Samurai Jack. For our axe users, we have Gimli, the Lumberjack from Hoodwinked, Loxodon, and me after a nasty breakup. For spear users, we have, various Neanderthals. For our bow wielders, we have Link, Katniss Evergreen, Minecraft Skeleton, and that one guy from World War II. There. Is that good enough for you, future commenter? Let's see what the comment was even about. This sounds a lot like Fire Emblem. Okay. I mean, that's alright. I love Fire Emblem. Just don't watch the Facts About It video, History of Mario not getting into Smash at the timestamp 1052. Oh, I got another one. How am I supposed to play this with a piece of paper and a pencil? If you liked the video, like and subscribe now! Next time we're going over my totally legit writing tips.